Robert, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
We see great momentum, particularly between China and the United States this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does that mean for an American global company?
I think we see that very positive. We see a lot of renewed cooperation around food and agriculture. And these two countries play a critical role in the global trade of food. And it's very important for American farmers to have access to the Chinese market, which is the largest food market in the world and also the largest importer.
And for you, which is participating mainly in the global value chain of processing, transportation related to food industry, what does that mean to you? What do you hope to see?
Well, we hope to see more definition around clarity about the trading system that both countries, as we have seen many examples of in the last couple of days, both countries are committed to continuing a very prosperous trade in terms of food and agriculture. Food and agriculture trade is one of the things that is a very stable impact for the trade between China and the United States.
And of course, you have been working very closely with China for decades. You yourself in charge of Cargill in Asia Pacific region. And how do you see the momentum of economic growth in this country?
The global economy, the global growth is slowing down, but there's still a lot going on in the food space. When it comes to China particularly, we know the GDP has been also decreasing, but it's still relatively robust. And in absolute terms, it's one of the largest in the world. So that's positive for food. What we also look in the China context in terms of, we look at other things as well. We look at urbanization rate, which is still growing and has a long way to go before it matures sometime around 2035. We also look at the middle class growth, which is still growing. So these are all positive signs for the food industry.
We see Cargill is building innovation center in China. So which part of innovation are you concentrating on, and how do you see China and even American companies together can work on innovation?
Yes. The innovation center that we have is first and foremost built in China for China. We have our hands full with the Chinese consumer because the Chinese consumer is very demanding and is very agile and is looking always for new products, more functionality, and now healthier products, and now we're seeing more and more sustainable products. So it's getting quite complex, so this is why we're putting additional resources in the center. One thing that we do see, which is very interesting, is the innovation is now, it used to be more out of the region, and then we would bring innovation into the region, and now we're seeing this going the other way. So we have kind of channels that are going both ways. So this is really promising. Two-way traffic, and the consumer in Asia Pacific is also setting some global trends that we need to understand and apply to food production.
Like what?
One big one is milk tea, which is growing tremendously fast.
My producers love them.
Yes. And that has a big impact on our business. We provide some ingredients, and we need to understand, how the functionality, the taste, the health piece. So we're all improving on that, and we're seeing now milk tea starting to take off in other parts of the world as well.
Do you like it?
I love milk tea.
At least to try, right?
Yes, for sure.
So the other thing is how technologies are also being innovated in this part of the world, such as Asia Pacific, and spread from here to the other parts.
I think technology will play a critical role in many parts of agriculture and food. One part we're very excited about is in sustainability. As you know, if we're going to live in a world that's increasingly decarbonized, food and agriculture must play a critical role. So we are working a lot with our key stakeholders, customers, government on new technologies, new practices in the business. I could give you a couple of examples. Right now, industry is really focused on Scope 1, Scope 2 CO2 reductions. This is something that's under our control, and we're making progress as Cargill in this respect, and as an industry as well. A key challenge we have is on Scope 3, which is about, which involves shipping products. And when we're talking about China being a large importer of food, there's a big shipping component to this. So a lot of new technology and alternative fuels being looked at. We're working hard on that.
This is a time when a lot of new technologies are all happening at the same time. How would you make your choices? That's always the most crucial.
Yeah, so it's difficult. So what we're trying to do is we're really focused on bringing those new technologies, but that on a net overall basis is not a direct cost. Yeah. So this is the challenge that we have. We want to keep supply of food abundant. We want to keep it affordable, but we need to make it more sustainable. So how do we do all this without increasing the cost of food?
Indeed.
It's a major challenge for the industry, but we think if we work private sector, public sector together with our customers, including consumers, we think we can get there.
Food security is one of the top priorities for the world leaders. I know for your company, of course, that's at the top of the mind as well. So from a global company's perspective, a global company's perspective, how do you see you can contribute to the food security issue that we're talking about today?
Yeah, so first and foremost is to be an active participant in dialogue across different countries to make sure that we do talk about what is the reality of the food system. And then we need a very resilient trade system, because food moves around the world. As I mentioned, that brings another challenge of sustainability. But we need a healthy global trading system. So we as corporations can continue as well we get signals from the global trading system on investing in supply chains, because you need to invest years ahead of time before the demand is created. So getting the right signals from government on, that will help us decide on where to invest, because if you think about global food security, it's not a particular single country issue, it's a global system, right? So to continue to bring food in a deficit area as Asia Pacific is a large food producer, but is also the largest food importer. So to enable this very efficient system, we need to be continuously investing in global supply chains. So some of the investments we would make in countries that are surplus food are actually destined to the deficit countries.
Right.
So we need to look at this on a global basis.
There has been a lot of talk of delinking, There's also a lot of talk about only friendly shoring or near shoring. But of course, this is going to bring a lot of turbulences to the global supply chain. So as a global company yourself, how do you see all these rhetorics?
Yes, I think we have to play to our comparative advantages. This is an old principle,
yes.
old economic principle.
Yes.
But I think the best way for us to have a food security that is at its optimum, and it is not today, because we know there's up to 800 million people a day that don't get enough calories. So we need as well to, as the population grows, we need to solve this problem, and we need to solve the problem of the population growth. And we have a growing middle class around the world as well. So I think this is why we need the global trading system. I understand that we want to be sourcing locally, and I respect that fully. I do some of that myself with my own family, but we do need the system to be able to maximize food production and making sure that we play to our advantages.
Especially when we have limited resources.
Absolutely.
Having said that, though, my last question, I want to ask you about the prospects, because now people mainly look at the next month, earliest next year. But as a business leader, how would you try to grab as much information reliable as possible? And what sources do you need to go to in order to help you to make decisions and judgments? This is so crucial, yet so difficult these days.
Yeah, we really think long term, and we have full commitments of our shareholders to think long term, right? Be performing in the short term, obviously, we need to be high performers, but we have the luxury to think a bit more long term, let's say, than other companies. So I'd say in the world today, it's never been complex. I've been in the industry for for 4 decades, and it's never been as complex as that, because we have geopolitical issues, we have now the convergence of food climate issues, this is a big issue, the convergence of food and energy. Yes. So there's a lot of uncertainty. So we spend a lot of time thinking about it, We have some directional thoughts, so we hope we're heading in the right direction.
When you can tell us about your directional thoughts, do update me about them.
Absolutely, we will.
It's such a pleasure seeing you, Robert.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
Same here.